Marriage is one of the most challenging issues that new believers from Hindu background will face, especially girls. Deepa, whom I have mentioned before, the girl who saw the dream of the snake, um, she, as a new believer, she became concerned about that issue very soon after she trusted Jesus. She brought up that issue to me. Who will I marry now that I'm following Jesus? Her family was from a Jain background, and she knew that her parents would only allow her to marry a Jain. And she also knew that Jesus would want her to marry a believer. So the only solution was to marry a Jain background believer. Trouble was, in Kenya, there were very few Jain background believers, and we really only knew of one possibility, a young marriageable man in the whole country. And he wasn't interested. We made a few approaches to him, and he just didn't respond and didn't show interest. We didn't learn until later that he just wasn't ready. He was just entering seminary, and he wanted to go through that before he thought of settling down. Well, at the time, we just knew that he wasn't responding to us. And after a few months, Deepa came to me and said, I've decided that if Hash isn't interested, I just won't get married. And that was her solution. I thought that was quite brave of her, and she came to that conclusion herself, that rather than marry a non-believer giving into her parents' pressures, she would be able to at least remain unmarried. And she did resist and remain unmarried for about 8 years until Hash was ready. Finally, they did marry, and they went on to become missionaries right there in Kenya. And they are currently serving together, reaching out to the Indian community there in Kenya. And not only that, they are Love Your Neighbor associate trainers, teaching these very same principles in East Africa. Another young woman I helped with that issue was right here in America. She was also from a Gujarati background, Hindu family, and was the only believer in her family at that time when I met her shortly after she had trusted Christ. And she too was concerned about marriage. Her parents were insisting that she marry a Hindu, but she told me that she felt like she was probably strong enough to defy her parents and marry whoever she wanted, to marry a Christian instead of marrying who her parents wanted. And I was a little concerned hearing that, and I encouraged her to just to be patient and trust the Lord. And I even told her Deepa's story, and that encouraged her. She decided to be a little more patient and to pray and trust the Lord to find someone from her background that her parents would approve and who was also a believer. And in the end, God did provide such a person, and the two of them were married in a beautiful ceremony that incorporated many symbolic elements that satisfied both families and yet were totally filled with biblical, scriptural meaning, and it was a very beautiful marriage ceremony.